allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Item 3 on our agenda, roll call. Please show all members present. And to the viewing public, just a reminder that the call-in number for tonight's meeting is 930-8189. 930-8189. Item 4 on the agenda, acceptance of the September 18th minutes. Do I hear a motion?
Make a motion we accept them as presented.
Second.
Motion been made and seconded to accept the minutes of the September 18th meeting as written. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Abstain.
I abstain. Item 5, acceptance of agenda. Is there any changes, James?
No, I included a letter that came in just today from Josh Treat, making his resignation from the school board immediately. I'd like to move that into 11th hour so you can have a discussion, because it's a board position and should be open. The public needs to know more.
Do I have a motion on the agenda?
Motion to accept as amended.
Second.
Motion made and seconded to accept the agenda as amended. Any discussion? All those in favor? I'll now take a motion to go from our regular agenda to a public hearing to discuss the GA maximums for 2018 and 2019.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made and seconded to go from our regular agenda to a public hearing. Any discussion? All those in favor? We're now in the public hearing to discuss GA maximums for the next year. James, what do we have?
Just so the public is aware of how this works, we have a general assistance ordinance, and the ordinance dictates the way that we will deal with general assistance matter for the town of Searsport. In that ordinance are the no problem. Are the overall maximums that are allowed in each of the categories in which GA can be offered. And with that, every year they change. So every year we have to actually change the ordinance and adopt the new changes. We can't use the old one. We're already, as of October 1st, triggered to using the new one. I take the various schedules that are here in all these pages and condense them to one page to make them easier. And between last year and this year, there are just very minor changes to various things, like housing maximums, some of the sections, personal care in some of the sections, electricity. The overall maximums were tweaked by $1 or $2. So the changes are not significant from year to year, but we have to adopt them and they have to go into our ordinance.
Any comments or questions from the board?
If we have to do it, we have to do it.
Okay. Anyone from the public wish to speak on this? That being the case, I'll accept the motion to go from a public hearing back to our regular agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made and seconded to go from public hearing back to our stated agenda. Any discussion? All those in favor? Item 17, decisions from public hearing. Is your recommendation that we adopt those new standards?
2018-2019 General Assistance Ordinance Appendices A through D.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made and seconded to adopt the new regulations for the GA for the year 2018-2019. Any discussion? All those in favor? Eight, open to the public.
I would like to just add to our agenda. I wasn't aware that Chuck was going to make the meeting. In 11th hour item to talk with Sundog Solar about our earlier discussion on the solar array. That's why I had to pause a little bit when he walked in. I'm like, oh, he is here. It is 11th hour. So that's the only thing. He'll speak to us in 11th hour.
Okay. Under new business, A, refunds from our withdrawal from NRC.
Over the past couple of years, we've been working on our withdrawal from the Municipal Review Committee and staying with PERC, Penobscot Energy Recovery. We had a investment in the MRC that was related to our participation, and they enclosed our stabilization account money that we had invested in it. And it's a significant amount. We talked about this through the process and talked about our ability to possibly use this at the transfer station to advance recycling, maybe replace a compactor. It is related to the operation, and I'm making the recommendation that we place this in the transfer station reserve account, with pending the auditors in agreement that that's where we can legally put it. But I'd like to set this aside so that we can make those improvements. At this point, we don't know what's happening with recycling, whether Belfast is going to continue their program, whether we can afford, if they don't continue their program, to go it alone. We've had a couple of workshops where we talked about the fact that a lot of towns are abandoning their recycling programs simply because the cost has outweighed the benefit to the municipality. I don't want to be the one that says we should do that. I think we need to do a lot of community soul searching to see if we want to spend money to continue a program like this. But we don't know at this point where Belfast is at and what they're going to do. But in the meantime, I think it's important that we do actually put this money in reserve.
You heard the town manager's recommendation. What's your wish?
I make a motion that we take the advice of the town manager and put this into the transfer station account.
Second.
Motion made and seconded to put the check for $199,971.40 in the transfer station account, reserve account. Any discussion? All those in favor?
I have a question, James.
Yeah.
Can you roughly tell us how much we're losing on the recycling program?
Not at this point.
Okay.
I really can't. We are looking at it, but I don't know that we're losing, but we're not ahead of the curve either. I'll have some numbers at a later date.
I think
As a complete picture of what we're doing at the transfer station, that's one of the things we have to look at.
we need to know what if we're gaining or losing there, and on the stickers and everything. I think
Well,
before we can really do anything.
And the bigger question is what's going to happen 6 months or a year from now if Belfast doesn't continue, and can we go it alone, or can we partner with some other entities, some other towns around us that are currently maybe using Belfast or not recycling at all. Maybe we could make it happen without their input. We just don't know until we get there. But we are looking at those numbers.
9B, discussion and purchase of a roll-off container for transfer station.
Now, qualify this conversation with First by saying Bobby had no idea that we had a check in the safe for $199,000 when he came in and asked if we could get another roll-off container. Our 24 cubic yard container is pretty rough. In fact, if we replace it, it will probably go in the scrap pile just to be scrapped, because the rust is, we've welded it, we've kept it together, but it was in pretty bad shape. He'd like to buy two, but we don't have we don't have the budget to buy two. So I asked him, you know, which is the most important to replace, and he thought the 24-yard container is at this point more needed than the 50-yard. Right now we have $10,560.95 in our reserve account for the transfer station. The 24-yard container is going to roughly, because there's only estimates on delivery, but the top end it would be is $7,109. But like I say, that container we've had a long time. I don't remember when we didn't have it. It's been so long. I wasn't here when we bought it, so it's over 13 years. So it's a good investment. We really do need to replace it. Last thing we want is some sort of an accident with it.
How bad is the other one?
It's of the same era. It's also in need of replacement, but in the hierarchy of priority, the 24 has got to go.
Well, we just got more money.
I know, but I think I'm making a
Will
recommendation.
last the year?
I think it will last a year, and then as we're closer to knowing what we need, I'd rather just not even touch that money if we can. We may come to the point where we need to, because we still have a compactor issue. Although with the colder weather that's come on us, the squealing has gone away. It has to do with the heating up of the metal. On a hot day, it makes god-awful noises that we can't resolve, and on cooler days, it's quiet as if it was brand new. So that metal on the bottom of the compactor is pretty thin.
In that event, we should remember when we do the budget,
Absolutely.
put some more money for that
Absolutely.
second one in the budget, or in the reserve account.
That is what that was my thought exactly. Is we've got some time, and yeah, I agree with you.
And has anybody thought of trying to put some grease in there some way?
We've tried.
Yeah.
Yep.
Do I hear a motion on the roll-off container?
Make a motion, we purchase a 24-yard container that is priced in the neighborhood of $71.09.
Second.
Motion made and seconded to buy a 24-yard roll-off container for transfer station at a cost of $7,109. Any discussion? All those in favor? C, appointment to the Board of Assessment Review.
Yeah, we have one opening. We've been making appointments. We have one alternate opening. We had our meeting last month with the Assessment Review Committee, the board, to kind of organize in case we get an appeal. We don't have one to go in front of them yet. All the appeals that have come so far have been dealt with through the assessor, but Lynette Slatcher showed up to the meeting because she had filled out an application a little over a year ago. So we invited her to join the club, and she sat through the training that we did and the discussions, and in the end decided that yes, she would be interested in volunteering for the committee as an alternate. Full well knowing that the alternates have to be there for the whole thing, because if there's a conflict of interest or someone that can't make a meeting to take a decision, the alternate has to step in and do it. But we had a great meeting, and like I say, she was fully engaged and participated. We are recommending some training for them, which is coming up, and offered by Maine Municipal Association. But really happy to see if she wants to be aboard, and that's her application.
Okay, board, you've all had the opportunity to look at this application. What is your wish?
If I can remember the name, I'd make the motion. I'd make a motion that we appoint Lynette Sletcher to the
Board of Assessment
Board
Review
of Assessment Review
as an alternate.
as an alternate.
Have a second?
Yeah, I'll second that.
Motion made and seconded to appoint Lynn Slatcher to the Board of Assessment Review as an alternate. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for vote. All in favor?
I'm gonna abstain, John.
Nine D, police cruiser replacement, discussion action.
I'm actually in a conversation with the chief right now by way of text. He did get the second quote in comparison from Darlings that you'd asked for, and they were $28,999. I think he's probably trying to call me right now. He's asking that we might table it again to the next meeting so that we can get crunch those numbers down to the finest. We are so close in the numbers that we have available that I identified earlier that there might be still an opportunity to do it if there's some line item budget money, but we're pretty close.
How close is this?
I'd say within $1,000–1,500 roughly.
I think we should table it.
Yeah.
I'll make a motion, we table the police cruiser replacement until the next meeting.
Yes.
Second?
Motion made and seconded to table the replacement of police cruiser until our next scheduled meeting. Any discussion?
Excuse me?
All those in favor? Oh. Item 10, 11th hour. Oh, what do we have, James?
Well, I think first we should dispense with the letter and accept and announce the open position for the school board. I do have an interested person for it, but where it's a board position and a replacement for it over a year, I think it'd be wise that you announce it first and table its filling to the next meeting.
Mhm.
You need a motion to that effect?
Yeah.
I make a motion that we table the appointing the position to the school board till the next meeting so it can be advertised.
Second.
Motion been made and seconded to postpone till our next meeting. Appointing someone to the school board so it can be advertised. Any discussion? All those in favor of postponing? And then we have something from Solar.
Yeah, Sundog Solar, Chuck Piper's here to continue our discussion about the possibility of a solar array on town property, and he's got some additional information. Unfortunately, we communicated just after the agenda was made, so I couldn't get it on officially, but in the 11th hour, and especially since we've had a series of meetings to talk about this, it was appropriate to have him come ahead. If we're going to make things work, we've got to do it fairly soon.
Yeah, thank you.
So please, Chuck.
Can I set up my projector or?
You sure can. I can move my junk.
Let's take a minute.
Do you have information on the state stuff, James?
No. I don't have information on the shooting either, the range thing either. So that's also waiting for me municipal. So.
Great, thank you.
Big shadow of the phone in here.
Yeah, it's under the leg.
I see. Let's see.
Almost there. Brought my glasses.
Oh, I brought mine, but all right. There's one more little widget here.
This little guy right here.
We'll be ready to roll. So I brought some numbers that pertain to Searsport. When we last spoke, I showed you some hypothetical scenarios, and we weren't 100% certain which accounts could participate in the solar. So we've done some research and figured that out. So let me just turn this little guy on here. Okay. See, can I turn these lights off? Or?
Yes. Just the lights are right in the middle of that wall there.
Oh, okay. That might help to see the screen a little bit better.
Yeah, getting better.
How's that?
One more light would be great.
Okay.
Yeah, there it is.
Okay.
Yep. That was, they took that
There
picture
we
in
go.
the backyard about a week ago. Yeah.
So, what we did was we looked at several bills, thanks to a woman here in the office, I don't know her name, but she was able to help us identify several accounts. I don't have my pointer, but you can see the different town locations. So there's 5 of those, and the total of the first, sorry, at least 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The total of the first 5, as far as the number of kilowatt hours that are used each year, is close to 91,000. And I added Trundy Road in to come up with 177,000. And the reason I'm separating Trundy Road from the total picture is because Trundy Road has demand charges, which basically nullify it from receiving full solar credits. But it's so close to being either demand or not demand that we might be able to do something to reduce that demand charge, which would put it into a different billing category and allow it to benefit from solar. So what I mean by benefit is right now the cost of a kilowatt hour is roughly 15 cents a kilowatt hour. And with the net metering program that's in place, if you are a certain type of a billing customer, you can get pretty close to 15%, a 15-cent credit. Whereas as a demand customer, you would only get half that, because they don't give you credit for the transmission distribution portion of the bill.
Okay, now the public safety building, that is not a demand.
So the public safety building is pretty close to being a demand customer, but it's not.
Good.
So that's good news. What we discovered is that in order to move into the demand, well, I was going to go through the bill, but in order to go into the demand category, you have to use 20 kilowatts of power in a 15-minute period for 6 months. So, you know, let's say we start in January, and you know the machine that's over there that pumps up the tanks, the compressor goes on and spikes the power for 15 minutes above 20 kilowatts. So that's 1 month. But then in February, maybe they don't run the compressor, and so the bill never spikes above 20 kilowatts. And so then they start to clock back at 0. So what they've done on your bill is they show demand charge, but they don't actually put a charge in there because you haven't quite met their litmus test to become a demand customer. So the good news is that the safety building isn't demand and can get the full value of a kilowatt hour. So Trundy Road is a little bit different because it's up and down. Like some months it's using more than the 20 kilowatts, and then a couple of months it didn't use 20 kilowatts. So we could potentially put in a remedy. It's called load shaving. We could put in a battery system that, you know, when the system senses the load getting up to say 17 kilowatt hours, or maybe 19 kilowatt hours, then it would kick in the battery to supply that extra power, so that they never go over that 20 kilowatts. So that's something we're thinking about. I don't know if that
Is
raises
it now
any
the
questions.
Is there cost savings there versus, you know, buying the battery unit plus?
Yeah, so if we could include Trundy Road, the 84,000 kilowatt hours a year that Trundy Road uses, then the town could reduce that cost and lock in electric rates for the next 20 years. So that's one of the benefits to the solar package, is that you won't be surprised every year when Central Maine Power announces their rate increases, because you'll have a fixed rate. It'll be 12.5% below what the utility charges, and it could be 0. You know, if the town decides to buy the system. So let me just go into some numbers here that pertain to the town. see. Okay, so. Again, I'm sorry I don't have a pointer here. You would have to have it now. So, so these are the years that the system's installed, and I just looked at the facilities other than Trundy Road. So this is the amount of power that the system we would put in would produce. And this, I'll just go across this top line. So this is the amount of power it would produce. This is what the town is paying currently for a kilowatt hour, 15 cents. So here's your costs in a year to buy that power. And then we haven't settled on this particular number yet, but I just wanted to give you a number as an example. Let's say the town can buy the power for 13 cents. So the savings, let's see here, how do I get this to show the whole screen? So the savings would be $1,800 the first year. It doesn't seem like a lot, but you know, there's not many investments you can make that don't cost you anything and actually save you money. So, because the idea behind this system is it wouldn't cost the town a penny to put it in, and the town would begin immediately receiving electricity for a lower cost. So the reason it doesn't cost the town any money is because there's two investors. One investor is Coastal Enterprise Inc. It's a bank. And so they provide a loan that this payment satisfies. And then the other investor is an individual that can use the federal tax credit and the depreciation of the system. So the town doesn't pay a penny, but gets the benefit. Now the town could opt to buy the system at fair market value at the end of year 6 if the town wants to, but you don't have to. You can continue to buy power for 12.5% below the utility rate if the town doesn't want to expend this money. So it's an option that would be available for the town.
Chuck, the savings took a big jump at the end of the 6 years to 14,000. Batteries, year number 7.
Right, let me see. Annual PPA savings compared to utility. I think what's happening here is the town has expended this money to buy the system and is no longer paying for power. And so it makes this number jump because you're not paying for power anymore.
That's if we buy it, it would jump the savings to 14.
The savings would jump. So while you think about this spreadsheet, I just want to show you one more sheet here. So this one here. So this is how we know that. Did I show you this last time? Does it ring a bell?
No.
This is how we know how much power that system's going to produce. The National Renewable Energy Lab in Golden, Colorado maintains this PV watts calculator, and I can plug in the system size, which is 70 kilowatts. Let's see what that translates to in solar panels. Let's see, 70 kilowatts. That's about 210 solar panels. So 210 solar panels will produce this amount of power year-round. And I put in 15 cents, so it's equivalent to about $13,700 worth of electricity. And I like to show this because people ask, well, what happens in the winter when it's snowy? Well, the solar radiation is lower, than it is in the summer months when the sun is at its apex. But it still produces power, even in the months when we have less sun. So it's like a bell-shaped curve, the way it works. So anyway, the system would produce that kind of power, and we even take into consideration in our modeling that that silicon degrades over time, less than 0.5% a year. So we show the reduction in kilowatt hour production over time. So anyway, that's what I have for you.
I get a question. I get a question. How does it balance out when, in the months that you don't have as much sunshine, those are months when you need more power?
Right.
How does that?
So what I showed you here is how much power that system will produce year round.
Right.
And so in the summer, you can see that it produces more. So June, for example, it produces 87.95 versus 59.49.
Right.
So let's say the town needed 6,000 kilowatt hours that month.
Mhm.
Well, the other 27.95 would go into a bank.
I was gonna say, can you bank it?
Yes.
Okay.
For future use.
All right.
And so that extra 2,700, you might, fill in the shortfall of December.
Mhm.
So at the end of the year, it should all balance out.
Okay, that's what I was wondering. Yeah.
Yeah.
When you met with us last time, there was a question about if it wasn't done by January, and the legislature may or may not change that, or what, did that happen?
So what's happening right now under the current legislation is every year there's a step down in the amount of credit that's received for a kilowatt hour on the transmission and distribution side. So let's say, so it's 15 cents a kilowatt hour. Let's say the energy is 8 cents, and the transmission and distribution is 7 cents of that total charge. So after January, there'll be a reduction of about 1.50 pennies on the transmission and distribution side. So what that would do, just to give you an idea, is let's say we change this number to 14. And that reduces the benefit. Over time, it reduces the benefit. But after the system life is good for 30 years, 30 plus years. But in this scenario, the town would save 52,000 over 20 years. So it's not as much as, and this number's not set yet. We haven't set this number. This number could be lower. But we haven't set that number yet, so the savings could actually be higher. So, I don't know if that answers your question. We'd like to try to get it in before the end of the year, but I don't think we can because our calendar's full with other systems. So it'd be more like a January project.
So you really don't know that number?
I don't,
That-
I have to, this number here, we haven't decided what we're gonna put in for this number yet. The cost of electricity.
Right.
I'd like to put in a lower number and reduce the cost for the town so that the town can reap the maximum benefits, but I still have a little more analysis to do before I can, like if we decide to put in that battery system to add Trundy, that's gonna add to the cost of the system, and so, we'll have to talk about whether we wanna do that or not. Like for example, we don't include Trundy, we don't put the battery system in. Maybe the cost of electricity for the town would be 12.5 cents. But if we put in the battery system, it might be 13.5 cents. So we'll have to evaluate whether that's worth pursuing or not.
Have you looked at the proposed site?
I have.
And it's good?
You know, it's a little hilly. We'll have to do some
It can work.
work, you know, to put our panels in there. But we can do that.
How is this system insured?
So, so Sundog will own the system for the first 6 years, and we buy insurance to insure it. So we're covered for the first 6 years. After if the town decided to buy it, after year 6, then the town would pick up the insurance.
And in purchasing it, it would be simply just a signing of papers, right? Nothing, you're taking nothing out, putting nothing in.
Well, no, there'd be a transfer of cash.
Right, the
About
paperwork, it would be
82,000.
paperwork only. No product would change hands with this.
No, it's just paperwork, yes, right. So this scenario has been done for a number of years all over the country. And it's been done in a number of communities here in Maine. Lincolnville, Portland. We're just about to turn Bristol on. Waldoboro's participating with this. I think I showed you that video last time I was here. So there's a number of other towns that are participating.
You've got Trenton signed up, right?
We didn't sign Trenton up yet because they've got a demand issue with their school that we're trying to address. But we're working on Tremont. We're going to start Tremont. That's 450 panels. They need 185,000 kilowatt hours a year. So we're going to start installing that system in, well, probably another month.
Lincolnville's out by the fire department.
Say again, please?
Lincolnville's project is out by the fire department.
It is, yes.
Is it on the ground or on the roof?
It's on the ground.
It's on the ground.
Yeah.
So we could go see it.
Oh yeah, you could see that. I think I want to.
Yeah.
We want to put it on the ground a little bit differently up here, I think, because we don't know what's under the ground. And the way Lincolnville did it is they screwed these helical piles into the ground 4 feet down, and you know, I don't know what's under there, and so it's a risk, you know, when you do that. So I'd rather do a ballasted sit-upon. You want me to show you what that looks like?
You showed us in the last meeting.
I did. Okay.
Yeah. That's where
What's
you
the,
got for
what's the
a
life
transfer
of a
station.
panel?
30+ years.
For sure.
That's what the National Renewable Energy Lab says. Yep, and all the manufacturers have a 25-year power warranty. So they guarantee that the panel will produce 80% of its power for 25 years. So if it goes below that 80% production, then it's warranted. It can be replaced.
30 years?
25.
25.
Yep.
So a battery system at the Trinity Road location. Could we purchase that and not add it to this
Oh, sure.
system? And would that come with a panel? Would we have a panel down there? Could we
It
put
could
a
be
panel
charged
down there?
with electricity from the grid.
But what I'm thinking is that has a great southern exposure.
Put panels there
That
to keep the battery
and
charged.
we have a lot of space down there. We could probably
Oh.
easily sustain a good charge down there.
Oh,
I mean,
okay.
it's really a great location.
Yeah, it's about a $20,000 to $25,000 investment. So I was just thinking we'd wrap it into the solar package, you know.
We'll
But you
talk
can,
more
yeah, we
about
can
that.
talk more about that, sure.
You say 25,000?
Roughly for that battery that's got the inverter that's smart enough to kick in when the demand increases.
It's gonna take us quite a few years to save that then, isn't it?
Yeah, if that were standalone and not wrapped into the project, we'd have to. It would take some time to recoup the investment. But if it was wrapped in the project, it would be just part of the project.
Right, I know that, yeah.
And we're probably going to have some changes down there within the next 5 years or less if they move us to a secondary plant. Right now we're a primary plant, and if we go to a secondary, we'll probably still have the same pumping, the thing that gets us down there is, and I bet you Howard could tell you exactly when we are on demand. On days like now when it's raining and there's infiltration into the system, the pumps are pumping more, and these are the types of days that cost us when it comes to that. So, yeah, that's...
Do you have a representative that you speak to at Central Maine Power?
Not anymore.
No, because I think most municipalities have an individual that can work closely with the town, and if we could get a hold of that individual, we could get a 15-minute interval billing over the year, and you could see how the demand charge. Yeah, we were able to get that for Waldeboro, so. So that's all I have. So I guess you guys have to chat through and figure out.
How much lead time do you need anyway?
If you told me tonight that I could start the project, I could probably start it in January. So
You're talking about 3 months probably,
yeah,
lead time.
right now it's 3 months. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
We would likely need to do some prep work down
Oh,
there anyway, and for the best site location.
So let me just kind of summarize the benefits for the town. There's no cost to put it in. The town doesn't have to maintain it or really do anything with it. The town will lock in its electric rates so that you won't have any surprises. And the town will begin saving money right away. So those are just the financial benefits. There's all kinds of other benefits with solar that I could talk about, but so it's been a home run for some towns. So thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sure. Okay, let me just disconnect here and we'll be good to go.
What is the battery life?
The battery life.
Yes.
So with that particular battery, if you cycle it every day, it's about 10 to 12 years. But in this scenario, the town wouldn't be cycling that battery every day.
Okay, would it be covered under the insurance that you mentioned?
Yes. Yeah. All right, James, you haven't got to go.
And thank you for coming.
Oh yeah, thanks for having me at the 11th hour.
11 hours better than none.
Yes. Sure is.
That's all we have for 11th hour, James?
That's it.
Item 11, correspondence. I see we have some correspondence here.
Yeah, a few items of correspondence. These are all thank you letters for donations from town meetings. So I'll just mention Sexual Assault Support Services of Midcoast, Maine, Hospice Volunteers of Waldo County, Habitat for Humanity of Waldo County, and the YMCA, all thanking you. The only other item that I have in correspondence is a letter from Shelley Winchenbach, and this is from Spectrum Charter Communications, which was now our cable provider, and it's announcing that on September 25th, which is past, channels 2, 5, and 7 are new locations, and they will be 1301, 1302, and 1303. And 1303 is what we're broadcast on tonight. I just thought George has put it out on public access and the word's gone out, but any chance we can add that voice it's good. So that's all I have for correspondence.
Dick, maybe you could put those on the radio Searsport?
Yeah, right now, yeah, I can't send
Yeah.
radio support out to
I know,
some
yeah,
other
but-
people, but what I'm doing is getting it over to Republican Journal, so it will go to Republican Journal and go out that way.
Item 12, treasurer's warrants. Do I have a motion on those?
Make a motion to approve the treasurer's warrants pending signatures.
Second.
Motion made and seconded to approve the treasurer's warrant pending signature. Any discussion? All those in favor? Town manager report. James, what do we have here?
Yep, the Public Works crew did ditching and road repair on the following roads: Nickerson, Bowen, and Brock Road. They installed a new culvert on Black Road South and assisted in the paving where new culverts were installed on Oak County Road. Bobby reports that we had to do significant amount of repairs to the Skag mower for cemeteries this year. In wastewater, no significant news to report. In the Carver Memorial Library, the staff is doing well. Sue McClintock is settling into her new position and working on a punch list of items that we need to repair. Once done, I will sit with her and prioritize them, and we may be able to add something to the operating budget. I spoke to the contractor for the front step project, and he reports that all the actual masonry work is done, and all that's left is to replace the railing. The ambulance responded to 52 calls for service in September. They had 2 interfacility transfers, 3 mutual aid assists, and 3 paramedic intercepts. Both ambulances are running good. The crew has been volunteering time to stand by at high school soccer events. The fire department responded to 11 calls for service. They issued 40 burn permits in the month. No truck or equipment issues to report. Randy's doing a good job. He continues to work with new permits. The police department responded to 222 calls for service during the month of September. The chief was installed as the president of the Maine Chiefs Police Association last month. Dan Owens' first day back to full-time status was October 1st, and Officer McCrillis is doing well as a school resource officer. All cruisers are running good. In economic development, Dean Bennett has been working on the development of a business contact list. This started with the 175th anniversary committee listing the businesses in Searsport, and we're taking it a step further to add the contact information. Dean is also coordinating with Wright Pierce Engineering to set up a date in October for another downtown planning outreach session. We hope to get the MDOT here as well. He's actually reaching out to them. And no significant news from Town Hall. The Comprehensive Planning Committee, Historic Preservation, Shellfish Committees all met in September. The Board of Assessment Review also met to organize and do some training in case they receive hearing requests. And that's it.
Do I hear a motion to accept the manager's report?
So moved.
Second.
Motion been made and seconded to accept the town manager's report. Any discussion?
Thank you.
All those in favor? Selectmen report. Doug, you have anything?
No, I don't tonight.
Mark?
I do not have anything tonight, thanks.
Linda?
Yes, I do. We had discussed, potentially having a dinner to recognize, individuals for efforts, and we're going to be working on that in January. We had thought about November, but that's a little bit too tight, so we're gonna push it up to January so that we can do a nice job of making people feel appreciated for what they've done.
Dick, you have anything? Dick?
Something I wanted to mention last time, I forgot. Sue Packer organized a food wagon again to, what's the name of that facility that puts the food out?
Good Shepherd.
Good Shepherd. And there were 73 families that were serviced by that truck that day. That truck emptied out pretty quick. And when they get in line, she wanted to know the town that they were from and everything. And so that she can report to the Good Shepherd and what's going on, so she has a record. And I thought that was quite a few families that benefited from that. It only took like an hour and a half and they were out of there. Trash, we tabled it last week. I understand Julia's got over to Belfast.
Yes.
Got to look at their facilities, maybe we can put it back on the, if we choose to, put it back on the agenda for the next meeting. I think the two hot items were the disposal of tires, and mine was the price of the bags. And I know Tuy's got a layout and everything.
Did you get over there?
Oh yeah, I went over there. Yeah, before I came to you guys, I went over there, and that's why I wanted someone else besides my eyes to look at it. And I thank Tui for going over there. But maybe we can put it back on the agenda.
Next meeting, James?
Yes.
That's it. I'm done.
I would have a question. We wouldn't have any breakdown on our cost effectiveness out there before we have that on the
We may.
agenda, would we?
Yeah, we may.
Just something rough.
Yeah, we've been working on that, so we probably can't have those numbers.
I just want to mention that Thursday I'm going to be going to Augusta, the Maine Municipal Association convention. I believe James is going tomorrow and Thursday. And hopefully I'll learn something.
Good luck with that.
Anything else from the board before we move on?
I have one comment about what I saw in Belfast transfer station. I was kind of surprised at how little they receive for what I would consider good recycling, paper, bottles.
It hasn't been good, since Trump got into the steel and aluminum stuff. That was the start of it. But some things aren't. She said a ton of plastic is $500. A ton of plastic is a lot of plastic, a lot of volume. She said that's the only thing that really has any value right now.
They do the paper by such big volumes. She said it would be a year before we'd fill it up. So
You see,
I'll save the discussion for. I just wanted to
Are
mention that.
are they recycling any styrofoam or? No demand.
Styrofoam.
Because it seems like that's a petroleum-based product. I would.
I think we're at a point where, like Jim said at the beginning, you gotta look at it, either we're going forward or we're going backwards, but we're not gonna be with just shredding water, standing still. I think we've gotta see where we wanna be, and try to get it out of them. Belfast is a pivot point here, so the lead's gotta come from Belfast. I'm done.
Any from the board?
Yeah.
Item 15, open to the public and the viewing public.
No calls.
No callings. I'll now take a motion to go from our regular agenda to executive session. According to MRSA 14056F, confidential general assistance poverty abatement request.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made, seconded to go from regular agenda to executive session. Any discussion? All those in favor? Now take a motion to go from executive session to back to our regular agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made and seconded to go from executive session back to regular agenda. Any discussion? All those in favor? Now take a motion on decision from executive session. Anyone want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion on PA 1813 that we abate a total amount of $8,644.87 in back taxes. And PA 1812 that we abate a total of $1,281.20 in back taxes.
Second.
Motion been made and seconded to abate taxes for PA 1813 for the amount of $86.44.87 and PA 1812 for $1,281.20. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for vote. All those in favor? I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second,
All those in
What's the
favor?
date for taxes and